Journey with me to Gillinor, from Ashdale, a world to explore, in search of the book of 1,000 songs, as we set off from the shore.
Next up is Dwarf Cannon, number 46, where we do a handful of menial army type tasks to get the ability to purchase a cannon that we will not ever be able to afford, or have the time and resources to fund firing, but that's how it goes. So we basically start off talking to Captain Logoth here, who starts off and makes us join the army, and then sends us to go fix the railing, which is generally very straightforward. You can typically see where the broken part is, and sometimes you get tired. It's a very good simulation of manual labor. And that's the last one. Alright. So we report back and expect to be able to leave because we're not soldiers, in which he goes and yells at us and tells us to go do other things. Specifically, go check on a lookout in the tower that's just outside the gate. It is on a hill though, so at least it gets to see something. And unfortunately, the dwarf is dead, and the other, his son, is nowhere to be found. So we come back, kind of unceremoniously drop the dwarf in front of the captain, and he sends us to go find the son. It was in one of these crates, in the little goblin hideout cave, I guess. But yeah, he has a really cool mohawk, spiked collar. A proper punk kid. And he just wanders off. So, that task complete. The captain now tells us to fix the cannon. So, we do that. Basically, you have to use these tools on the broken bits, and the right tool goes on the right broken bit, so this hook thingy goes on the spring, and then fire things go, oh, that thing. And then the little cog thing goes there, and now you've fixed the cannon. Congratulations, you now have a mechanical engineering degree. And then the last thing he needs to do is he never got ammo for this thing. So we have to go to the manufacturer and ask them about ammunition. Very army things. Supposedly. Which Melodian is the fellow to talk to here. And apparently the vendor forgot to send over a part. Which is a pretty common occurrence, actually. So we get the part and the guide, and we can go back, which thankfully takes way less time because we have lodestones. And yeah, we've done him a solid. He won't give us a cannon because they're expensive, but he will send word that we are allowed to purchase a cannon, which is expensive. And we will probably never do that. But that's the quest. June 9th of 2003, a murder happened. Murder mystery, which is an actual nice creative quest. This is one of the ones I'm quite fond of. It has some elements that are randomly determined and carry on to King's Ransom. But oh Lord Sinclair's been murdered. And the Sears Village guards are kind of useless. So we're tasked to basically look around, see if we can figure out who done it, which basically involves talking to people and looking for clues. Technically, you can do this with very few steps, but it's very fun to do things specifically. So what I did there was I went and got some string out of the doorway and verified that the dog barks for strangers. And now I'm just going to grabbing some supplies, talking to Stanford here. And I have my little list of suspects here. You see 4 of the 6 are crossed out because of just the threat itself, which leaves Anna and David. We go grab the murder weapon / weapons. Grab a personal possession of Anna's that can hold fingerprints. Do a little bit of medieval times fingerprinting. And then do it on the pot as well, and then compare it, and we find out that it is Anna. So now we need more supporting evidence of this, because apparently 2 fingerprints matching each other on pieces of flypaper with flour is not sufficient evidence in this world. So we're going to go and follow up the lead of the poison in the pot. So talking to this guy who spends a very large amount of time selling us on a product that he doesn't even have in stock. We find out that all of the kids bought poison and all of them used them for something, and we just have to verify if Anna used her poison on the thing she said she did, which was the composting over there. So we go and take a look-see, and lo and behold, it's not been poisoned. So this is now sufficient evidence to say that Anna is guilty and that she gets locked in the house until the trial. And that's it. This is a remarkably quick quest if you actually know what you need to find. That's kind of how most quests go. But yeah, that's the quest. Get some crafting XP and some cash and more quest points. Next up is the dig site, quest number 48 in our list. In this quest, we get to do archaeology before archaeology was cool. Or as they call it, earth sciences. Which is not quite the same thing, but close enough. So to start off, we have to get certified to be able to dig in the ground. Because otherwise we're just digging holes in the ground and not doing things properly. So we gotta get this letter signed by Seth over here. It's sort of a deviation from the original version of the quest where you have to go all the way to Varrock to get it signed by the curator. But we get that done, we go back to the examiner, and we can take an exam with absolutely no preparation. It's worth noting that we cannot possibly get this right, even if you come in knowing things about earth sciences. because the correct answers don't show up, and you have to go and talk to these students to get answers from them by doing tasks. Eduardo's up first. He lost his animal skull that got picked up by one of the workmen, so we just kind of go and steal it back. Fortunately, there's not multiple steal attempts, otherwise you could make a lovely joke about spades and pants. But we give it back and he tells us an answer. The next student is Katerina, who has lost her stuffed bear. So we have to wander around in search of bushes until we manage to find it, bring it back, and she gives us another answer. And then the last student is Dorian, who's over by the doors that totally don't exist, in which he's lost his super awesome golden cup, and we have to go panning in the river to find it. So, he gives us the third answer, and with that we can go and take our very straightforward exam. Yeah. I know exams. Exams are very scary. A kind of neat thing is that the correct answers are all correct earth sciences and archaeology procedures and information. It's all very basic, and most of it's fairly obvious. But that's kind of how it goes. I'm going to skip over the part where we go back to the students and ask them for the next exam's questions, because that just takes an inordinate amount of time, and just have the exams. But it's pretty much the same process as previous, where you go and can't answer correctly, then you go and talk to the students, and then they give you answers, and then you go and parrot those answers back, because that's what all students do. So, we have our level 3 certification, so we can dig in this dig site that's over here, in which we find the strange talisman that does not remotely resemble the symbol that's on the door that's directly behind us, because that doesn't exist yet. It's also worth noting that the dialogue in this quest has been changed a lot as the storylines progressed. It originally didn't mention Zeros by name at all, except for a couple of little areas, because we'll see that when we get to the Curse of the Empty Lord, but his name was essentially wiped from the minds of everyone in all of history. But that's just an interesting tidbit. We're now permitted to go underground, in which we go into this cave, find a book on explosives and a barrier that we cannot dig past, put 2 and 2 together, and decide to detonate an explosive underground in a confined space under an archaeological site. Because that's always a fantastic idea. We have a sort of barrel of mystery things that I spend a lot of difficulty in getting open because I keep clicking on the wrong tool because I'm dumb. But once we pop that thing open, we find out that it's a barrel of nitroglycerin, which is also a perfectly normal thing to have sitting around in large quantities. So we go over to the other side in this other cavern over here and talk to Doug here, who is generally very helpful and provides us with some background information about the book we found, as well as a key to the chest that we can't open. So with that, we can go and get our last ingredient for explosive that we will use without any certification. Because why would we, you know, handle explosive chemicals safely? No, let's just put it in a glass vial and put it in our backpack and just run around and climb up and down ropes with it. It's fine. Perfectly safe. And we just kind of unceremoniously dump it on these rocks and set it on fire because, again, we're all about safety here in the Gielinor Archaeological Society. See? We ran away from the explosion. And everything worked out fine. There's totally no damage whatsoever anywhere else. The explosion was firmly and safely contained by these solid dirt walls. But we grab this little stone tablet here, bring it back to Terry. He is exceptionally excited about this find. And then quietly forgets that we detonate an explosive underground in a dig site and gave us some gold and a bunch of XP and will eventually give us some snazzy abilities when we have the stats to actually use them. We can also get some kudos at the museum by doing the archaeological dig stuff, which gives the dig site pennant, which is not nearly as useful in this version of the game. Yeah, that's it. That's the dig site. It's quite a nice quest. Generally enjoy it. Friends! It is time to get a kitty. Via Gertrude's cat. Which starts off asking Gertrude randomly if she's okay, which is always a good move, just to go up to people and ask if they're okay. But she reveals that she's lost her cat Fluffs, who's run off somewhere and she needs help finding it. And we're a little bit callous in this entire endeavor where we want a reward for it, and she offers us some food, so... I mean, stew and cake is, like... I'm not gonna say no, like looking for a cat for some stew and cake? Okay. But we have to go and talk to two of her kids who apparently might know more about where the cats wandered off to. She describes them as carefree and childlike, and we find out that they've been basically getting up to no good in the end of Eric Square. But Milo at the very least can assist, provided that we buy them off a little bit. And Shiloh chimes in and increases the cost of giving 100 gold to 2 children. And we are essentially just strong-armed into paying. And they say that Fluffs is at the lumber mill, which at the time that this comes out has been gone for quite a while. This is probably the last footage of the lumber mill before it got torn down and turned into a fort that we won't get to play with for like 2 years or more, depending on how slow I am. We climb inside through this random hole and start looking for a cat. Oh look, a cat. Just kind of at the scooper? No. She is unhappy. So we give her some milk, which is not good for adult cats, by the way. Mammals get lactose intolerant. So, if you want your kitty to have nuclear gas, by all means give them milk. But yeah, so we feed and water the cat. She's still unhappy. There's something else that's keeping her here, so let's go and search this suspicious jiggling. Which there are kittens hiding in the crate. Being very cute. In which we go back, show them to Mommy. Fluffs gets very excited and happy and proud. Look at that proud little face. And then they go home. We return back to Gertrude, explain the situation. Then receive, in addition to our yummy yummy cake, a kitten, and also the information that we can sell cats to the person in West Dordogne to deal with the rat problem. And that's it. That's the quest. We get a kitten, which is the most important thing.